Okay, we're just trying to get everybody that's here. And it looks like Ms. Pratt, you're present on the Zoom. And also Mr. Sheehan, Jeremy Sheehan. And Mr. Abuxia, are you here representing any particular client, or are you here for the Michigan Indigent Defense Council?
I am here for any probation violation needs, Your Honor.
Okay, that's great. And Mr. Kirchhoff, what case do you have? Is that Ms. Pratt?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that case first. Hang with us, Mr. Sheehan, I'll be with you. Okay, Amanda Pratt, I'm Judge Sara Smolenski, and I have you in front of me as part of this Zoom on your file D19-04637-FY. It was a case that started out as a felony assault charge, felonious assault, going all the way back to December, Christmas time, a year ago, 2019. Mr. Kirchhoff, I believe, was your attorney during the course of the case, and he's present on the Zoom as well, and I thank you both for connecting. And this is what they call a probation violation. They claim there's a probation violation, that during the time that you were on probation, they're indicating you had a new criminal offense out of a separate court. And whenever there's a criminal violation out of a separate court, they call it a probation violation. It's like a new charge, but it's not an actual criminal offense. A probation violation is like you didn't pass your probation. If you look at probation as like pass or fail, they're trying to say you failed your probation or violated your probation because of that new case out of the Ionia court. I think it was Ionia. Having said that, you can either admit it, the violation, or deny it. If you admit it, I can tell you the penalty. If you deny it, you have a right to have a hearing, and you can be represented by counsel like Mr. Kirchhoff is here. If you needed time to talk to him or discuss it further, if you wanted to have a full-blown hearing, he could represent you in that. Some of the penalty can be fines, court costs. Some of the penalty can be jail. Some of the penalty can be the loss of the first-time offender program, diversion program that you had originally. Can you think of any questions right off the bat that you have for me? You have to unmute yourself because we can't hear you. You have to hit the unmute button. There you go.
No,
that's
no
all right.
questions, Your Honor.
No questions. And have you had time to talk to Mr. Kirchhoff so you know what's going on?
I have not.
Mr. Kirchhoff, are you going to want to have time to talk with Ms. Pratt before any final decision is made?
I believe not. We have actually discussed it a couple of times, and she is going to admit, because she did plead guilty in Ionia County to another charge.
Right. Okay. All right.
Sorry,
So Ms. Pratt, if you feel like you understand what's going on from a technical perspective with reference to this probation violation because of the other charge, how do you want to plead to your probation violation to the case that we had in our court because of getting that other case?
I'll admit guilty to it.
So you admit that you violated your probation because you actually got a new charge while you were on probation?
Yes.
Well, this is all some time ago. How are things going for you now?
Very well. I am holding 2 really good jobs right now. So I'm working close to full time. I am complying and doing my therapy through Pine Rest. I'm on the wait list for a different program, even for more intense therapy through them. I've paid off all my fines. So everything's paid off in Kent County and almost paid off in Ionia as well. I've been going to AA and Bible studies, and I've been really focusing on my kids and my family right now. And
well, I mean, gosh, that all sounds so good that you've really turned things around and have done much, much better. Your probation officer, Nicole Brown, had indicated that you were technically compliant with everything, that you were making your fines and court cost payments. Now you're telling me that's all paid off.
Correct.
It was just this other charge that threw a wrench into everything. Was this related to some kind of a relationship gone bad?
Yeah, I will admit, Your Honor, I was in a very bad time at that time, right after
Yeah,
the first with the divorce, and it's
right.
still going.
Sounds like
And
it.
I just needed, I was just in a bad place, and I checked myself in right after to Pine Rest
Is he
to
the
get
father
more.
of the kids? The man you're divorcing, is he the father of your kids?
Correct.
All of them?
Yes.
How many kids do you guys have?
We have 3,
What are their ages?
9 and 2, or twin 4-year-olds.
Yeah. Well, for all that they have to go through, your kids that have nothing to do with any of these problems, they were just born into this family. You've
Yes.
got to really put a effort forward in getting yourself stable, even as difficult as it is with the issues you're going through with the divorce. He's always going to be the dad. You're always going to be the mom. Nothing's ever going to change that. Is that ex-spouse to be, is his name Ian?
Correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can make it miserable for everybody, including your kids, or you can do it the way that's going to be more stable, because what you've done in the last 10 months is a huge improvement to where you were before. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And the kids deserve better from both you and Ian, if you ask me, because the kids have done nothing to
Yes.
deserve any of this, except they're a product of your relationship. Well, Ms. Pratt, I'm not going to send you to jail.
Thank you.
I'm not going to do it. I'm going to terminate your probation on our current case. I've got nothing to do with the case in Ionia. You know that. I've got nothing to do with that. And
Right.
you're going to have to follow through with everything you're asked to do through the court that you're in.
Correct.
But I do revoke your first-time offender program, which was the 7694A,
Okay.
because of the new charge you had in Ionia. It's
Okay.
technically automatically a revocation. So this domestic violence case does stay on your record. You don't want to repeat it. You don't want to get any new cases of any kind, anything.
Yes.
The other case out of Ionia, was not unsimilar. So all I'm saying is you got to keep yourself in this better place that you're in, even though you're going to face adversity. You're going to face difficulties with this divorce. It's not going to be easy. But you got to do it for the sake of your kids and for your own mental health. Do you understand?
I do. Absolutely. I agree.
Any questions? Any questions for me?
No, so I'm off. So this probation is
Probation
ended?
is done. We revoked the 7694A, which is a big thing. I mean, that's a big thing.
It
To
is.
not be able to have this unpublished. Now it's public. But you just want to make sure going forward, you do so in a positive way. Because if you start having problems again, they'll charge you with a felony the next time this happens, a 5-year felony.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Kirchhoff, thanks for being part of our Zoom today, and thanks for making the effort to be part of this case with Ms. Pratt.
No problem, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, we're adjourned, Ms. Pratt. You can disconnect.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Your Honor.
Yep. Mr. Jeremy Sheehan, thank you
Yes,
for
ma'am.
being part of this Zoom today regarding our 8:30 meeting. If you go back and remember your case, it goes all the way back to May last spring, so a year and a half ago now, when you got arrested on West River Drive, Lamoureux area, Plainfield Township, for operating with a high BAC, too much alcohol in your system. You're
Yes, Your
before
Honor.
the court now. Okay, Mr. Sheehan, thank you. You're before the court now for what they call a probation violation. And I know you were listening a bit when I was talking to that other person. A probation violation is treated like a new criminal offense, but it's not a criminal offense. It's a probation violation. I sometimes talk about probation as like
Hello, I'm
pass or
trying to get
fail.
audio going right now. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Okay, Mr. Drungalus, you can just wait.
I
We're
can't
not
hear
quite
you yet.
at your
I'm trying
case
to call
yet,
in.
but yes, we hear you. Okay, Mr. Sheehan, when we talk about a pass-fail, it can be one thing or many things. And in your case, they claim that there's been a number of things that you violated your probation on. One being the case out of Grand Traverse County, the 86th District Court. One being not completing the counseling that was ordered to be given. One was missing an appointment with your probation officer this year. One was testing positive for alcohol 2 different times in May and June of this year. One was admissions of the use of alcohol, cocaine, and marijuana. And one was missing a number of appointments to be tested for drugs or alcohol.
Hello?
They have like, yeah, they have like 6 different dates that they've set up.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Drungalus, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I have the phone number. You're just dialing in by phone, correct?
Yeah.
Just mute him, will you?
Okay, it's
Okay. What I wanted to say, Mr. Sheehan, is that they're saying there was at least 6 times that you were supposed to go in for testing and never did it. So any of those seen as violations cause you to fail probation. So when I say it's a pass-fail, it's like any one of which would be a problem. You're being asked today to decide, did you fail your probation or did you not? You have the right to admit it, and you have a right to deny it. And if you deny it and say, no, I didn't violate it, you have a right to have a hearing. It's not exactly a trial, but we call it a hearing, a probation violation hearing, so that testimony can be taken. Did you pay your monies? Did you do your classes? Did you go be tested? Did you have a new case? Whatever the questions are. So far, Mr. Sheehan, do you feel like you understand?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
At the time that you had this case, back in May, a year ago, you were represented by the Public Defender's Office. I don't remember exactly which attorney was yours at the time, but they walked you through this case, and you pled to a charge where they made no recommendations about any kind of jail or anything like that. Fast forward to today, September 17, 2020, we're talking about, did you violate your probation or did you not? Now, if you go forward on your own, you don't have a lawyer. And a lot of people do that. But if you wanted to talk to somebody and get some advice, you would have the right to do that as well. So far, do you have any questions for me?
No, I understand everything that's going on here.
All right, I appreciate it. As part of the penalty, there can be jail, there can be fines and court costs, there can be community service added on. Those are part of the penalties that can be added on as part of a probation violation. Now, do you think anything pops out at you that you want to ask me?
I have a felony case up here.
Oh, yeah.
So
And when you say up here, where is that? Traverse
this is in
City?
Leelanau County. Yeah,
Leelanau?
Leelanau County.
And you have an attorney on that, right?
Yes, we're going to sentencing in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks
Okay.
out. And
Do you have an idea, or did they give you any kind of a, an idea of what you might be looking at?
so far, my attorney thinks my guidelines will be like 10 months to 19 months.
Yeah. Well, to be forthright with you, I don't really look at giving you more time than what you'd be getting there. Ours would be way, way less. Honestly, I doubt if they'd even bring you back down to Kent County. They'd probably just count your time that you're doing for them as part of the time for this.
Yes. what I was wondering, that's what I was gonna ask you, if I plead guilty to this, what count as that?
Yeah.
Put them,
It pretty much would. I think that's the way we do it in this time. And to work it out, it probably would be the best. What's the date of your sentencing?
October
October
19th.
something?
Yeah.
Is
Well,
it in
yeah,
October?
It's October 19th. I have to,
Yeah.
meet with a probation officer tomorrow to do the, pre-sentence
Yeah.
investigation.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure we could try to find out what happens with that. And it's Lenawee County, right?
Leland,
Oh, Leelanau? Okay. All right, so then you decide, Mr. Sheehan, I get what you're saying. You decide what you want to do. I mean, let's face it, you're up there right now. It's not like I have you here in jail, in court. It's not like I'm going to put you in handcuffs right now because you're not even here. I do believe that there'd be a jail sentence on this, but I do believe we could probably work it out to be concurrent with what you're doing in Leelanau.
Yeah, I just wanted to, plead, admit to the charges.
Is it true? Did you violate your probation?
Yes, I was doing okay, and then, I got cabin fever from the coronavirus, and I couldn't go to meetings and stuff, so I ended up, falling
Just
out the
things
wagon.
got worse?
Yeah,
Do you
it just
have
went
family
down.
that you live with, or are you on your own?
No, I'm with my family. I just had a daughter, a few weeks ago. She's a preemie.
So you live with your
And-
spouse and you just had a baby?
Yeah.
How are you doing with your sobriety now? I mean, that can't be easy when your wife knows that you're going to be going to jail or prison.
Yeah, I haven't touched anything since I've been, home. I had,
Yeah, that's huge. That's big,
had to
that's
scrape.
huge, but you want to really make that a lifelong commitment because now you're just having a baby. You're going to miss the first year of her life, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's got to be rough on everybody. It's not just punishment to you, it's rough on everybody.
Yes,
All
it
right,
is.
so on the probation violation, you admit that you violated. You got a new case out of Grand Traverse. Is that case, that disorderly conduct case, is that done?
Yeah, that's done. This is a breaking and entering charge.
Okay, so your B&E is the felony. What about any
Yeah.
monies you owe the court here or in
I-
86th District Court? Is that all done?
For that misdemeanor charge is not. I haven't been able to contact them and try to make payment.
Uh-huh,
I've all my fines and stuff down there with you guys.
yeah.
Paid
All
them in
right, well, this is
full.
what we're gonna do. I'm gonna terminate your probation. It'll be 15 days jail. We'll allow the jail to run concurrent. Have your attorney contact us so we can know what Leelanau County does on the 19th of October.
Okay.
I want to hear what your sentence was, okay? And your
Okay.
probation officer here, Nicole Brown, she'll be contacting Leelanau County to find out, what the status of that sentence was. But I just hope that you can see far enough into the future to realize you got to change the way you're doing things. Drugs, alcohol, mental health problems, whatever they are, because it's adversely affecting your family. It's affecting your family in a bad way, including the newborn baby. That should
Yes,
be
I
the
understand.
incentive you need to get yourself on track. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, Your Honor. I
Well,
understand.
good luck to you, Mr. Sheehan. I hope it works out. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. You can bring in Griffin Douglas. No, it's concurrent with their time. Did you get that? Is it Griffin?
Good morning, this is Griffin.
How do you say your last name?
That would be Drungilis.
Mr. Drungelis, I'm Judge Sara Smolenski. I have you in front of me for what's called a probation violation on file D19-02-842SD. It's a case where you got arrested for operating while intoxicated back in July, the summer of 2019. If you remember it, it was in Algoma Township near 15 Mile Road. When you
Yes,
were
sir.
on probation, Mr. Drungelis, one of the rules of probation is follow all the rules of what you're asked to do. Community service, go to classes, counseling, go to your probation meeting, test randomly to make sure you're not using alcohol or drugs, go through a counseling program. What they're saying in your case is that you failed your probation. They said you failed your probation. It's a pass-fail kind of a thing. They say you failed because you missed some appointments and never showed up when you were supposed to see your probation officer. They said you only did part of the community service that you were supposed to do, like about 1/3 of it, and didn't complete the rest. They said you never completed the counseling program that was focused on relapse prevention. Those are the areas that they're talking about as a possible probation violation. Now, you can either admit it or you can deny it. If you admit it, I tell you the penalty of the probation violation. Penalties can include fines, court costs, jail time, more community service, more counseling. If you deny it, you'd have a right to have a hearing. And at a hearing, you could have an attorney represent you. You filled out the paperwork for a court-appointed attorney that we got recently, and we have the advice of rights form that you signed, that you sent to the court, it looks like recently as well. Although it's dated September 21, today's the 17th of September, so I'm not sure if that was a wrong date because we're not quite to September 21 yet. Having said that, can you think of any questions that you have so far?
No, Your Honor.
And while your probation officer was Troy Cervantes, he said you were sentenced on September 23, a year ago. So it's a year ago now. He said you had a rocky start right away with several drug testing issues, and that you tested positive for alcohol and marijuana on 4 separate occasions. He said he talked to you about it, and that near Halloween last year, around Halloween, in your talks with Mr. Cervantes, you said you were really going to commit yourself to do better. And then he said you didn't have any other testing issues. You were referred to the Grand Rapids Counseling Services to start their substance abuse group, relapse prevention group, and individual sessions. And he said that you were doing well with your counseling and that you completed the substance abuse group and you had pretty consistent attendance at the other programs until COVID hit, and then kind of things stopped. And we get that. We get that. Once COVID hit, they started doing those programs virtually. They started putting the sessions on virtually through the Grand Rapids Counseling Service. And when that happened, they said the Grand Rapids Counseling Service never really heard from you after June 3rd. You were supposed to do 160 hours of community service. And again, COVID shut things down, and we get that. But since they have been reopened, they said you've never returned back to the site once. Our probation department here at the court has not heard from you at all since May of 2020. It's September right now. So say the last 4 months, he's not heard of you at all, from you. There were 2 phone appointments where you call in. One was for June, one was for July. And he said he never heard from you on either of those appointments. No phone call came in. The phone number Mr. Cervantes is trying to call you on turns up no longer in service. So the only response he's getting when he tries to use that number is that they're sorry, this phone number is no longer in service. That's what we're looking at right now. Now, what are your thoughts or questions for me, Mr. Drungelis?
I would just say, really for no reason at all, when the COVID thing happened, I just kind of fell off. And when I had the time to not be able to do those responsibilities, I just fell into that habit and kind of continued that, and just out of pure laziness. And I'll admit to that. I did update my contact information with Troy. June. I see an email here. I sent it to him. So I think he might have. Well, he did reply and said that thank you for updating your contact information, but I don't think.
Okay.
Contradict. Yeah, he was calling the one. I did update the contact information. But that's not an excuse for the things that I
All
missed.
right. Well, I appreciate that COVID has affected all of us. Let's get real. It's been a game changer in so many ways across the world. It is. It's mind-boggling. And I get that it can really run interference with the way we conduct our daily activity. And I'm not trying to be buggy, but even picking up a phone to call us to say you're having a rough time would have been more help. Because what it felt like was you just completely ignored your responsibilities. That's what it felt like. You know what I mean? Mr. Cervantes is not recommending any jail on your case, and I'm not giving you jail. I'll accept that you've admitted responsibility for dropping the ball. That's the way I'll call it, dropping the ball. I mean, I think you said you just completely ignored it, but I get that things can be overwhelming for all of us in a lot of different ways. But if we never had COVID and you were expected to go through everything you were supposed to go through, well, hopefully we wouldn't even be talking right now because you would have done it and it would have been over. But I'm giving you 80 hours, 80 hours of community service that you're going to have to complete by the end of this year. It's September 17 today. You got all of October, November, and December. Now, there are places that are allowing community service to be done, and you can talk to our representative here at the court, Brenda McWaters, and just get something set up nearby, something you can do, something that's not going to interfere with your work, job, and crank this out and be done with it. The only way, Mr. Drungelis, you'd be back in front of me and going to jail, I might add, is if you drop the ball on this. Are you with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Any questions?
Okay. So as far as the counseling, I still have some of that counseling I'll have to do, correct?
Yes? I
Okay.
just follow up with whatever, just touch base with Troy. But your probation is technically going to be terminated. So, you know, anything you do to help yourself is a positive. That
Okay.
counseling is going to be a positive because you don't want to have this ever happen again. But my
Okay, so
focus is for you. My focus is for you to get your community service done and then be done with us. Anything else you do as a self-improvement is on you.
so one final question, because I'm on the random drug testing call line and my color was called today. Do I have to go to that or?
No,
Okay, got you.
nope, that's going to be all ended right now when I terminated your probation.
Okay,
Okay? Yeah. But I
Well,
mean,
thank-
you don't want to have trouble with the law again. You don't want to be arrested again. You don't want to get a new case again. That's all on you. So
Okay.
just make better decisions.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. I know you had a little trouble hooking up, and I don't know who you were talking to on the phone. We were talking on another case when you entered our Zoom, and we could hear you talking. I had to put you on mute because you were talking to some lady about trying to call in. We saw you and we could hear you, but I don't think you could hear me, and that was part of the problem. So if there was any delay, that's why.
Okay, okay.
All right. tell me the address you get mail at right now.
That'd be 4252 Alpenhorn Drive.
Yep.
Uh.
What's the number of the apartment? Is there one?
Number 9.
Is it GR? Does it go by GR Mish?
It'd be Comstock Park,
And
49321.
what's the zip?
49321.
Okay. All right, we've got it. Thank you for your courtesy. You'll be hearing from us.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you have a wonderful morning.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the waiting room? Is there anybody in the Zoom waiting room that can hear me besides Mr. Abuxia?
It's like somebody's trying to connect to audio, Your Honor.
Yeah, it looks like it. On the iPhone, can you hear me?
Yes.
What's your last name?
Hayes, Hayes.
Yep. Ms. Hayes, is it Tatiana?
Yes.
Ms. Tatiana Hayes, do you have video capacity on your equipment right there, or are you just calling in on the phone?
I think I got video.
If there's a thing that says connect to video, you can click on that, and then you can see us, and then we can see you. But if you just, yeah, now you're doing it. That was it. Yeah, there you are. Okay. Ms. Hayes, I'm Judge Sara Smolenski. I have you in front of me on file D19-03-589-SM. This is a case that you had a shoplifting retail fraud second degree charge out of the Meyer in Cascade.
Yes.
And the case goes back to August last summer. So we're talking August last summer. When you were placed on probation, one of the rules was don't violate the law at all. Don't violate the law, don't violate probation. Now you're coming before me because they claim you violated your probation. They said that you did not complete all your community service and you did not engage in the counseling that was required at reality counseling. At the time of this case originally, you did not get a jail sentence. The jail sentence was suspended so that you'd complete everything and take care of everything. There's monies that are still outstanding on the case that have not been paid. And what they're claiming is that because of those shortfalls, not doing all your community service, not paying all your money, not doing the counseling, that you violated your probation. I think of probation as like pass, fail. They're trying to say you failed it. You have the right to admit or deny the probation violation. If you admit it, I tell you what the penalty is, including a jail sentence, could be fines and court costs, could be more community service. If you deny it, you have a right to have a hearing, Ms. Hayes, kind of like a trial, but a hearing to determine, did you violate your probation? In any area, did you pay your monies? Did you do your community service? Did you do your counseling? That's really what they're focused on. Now, do you have any questions that you can think of for me?
For the community service, I stopped doing that due to the virus.
Yeah.
I know that we couldn't be in that during we couldn't be in groups. And then
Right.
1 minute they brung it up and 1 minute that they shut it down. And my fines, I paid my fine off. I paid $679 in total on my fines.
Okay, so all the monies are paid.
Yes.
Okay. And then what about the community service?
They had told me the community service was closed because of the virus, and then they had called me back and said that the community service was open again, and I was supposed to go back for the community service, but then it said that everything was closed again because of the virus, had started getting bad again.
Okay. So basically, your position is that you didn't do the community service and you didn't do the counseling, but mostly it's because of all the confusion with the coronavirus.
Yes. I
Okay,
was doing community service when it first started before the virus. I always went and see my probation officer on time. Even during the virus, I always talked to him and communicated with him with no problem. Every time he called me, I answered my phone. I never missed no appointments with him or nothing.
okay. When you had your last appointment with him on July 7th, you were telling Mr. Cervantes that the Alano Club had contacted you and said that you could come back and start doing your hours.
Yes.
And you told him later that week that you were going to do it. However, you failed to do so and then were terminated from that community service program. What happened with that?
The confusion because of the virus. I thought
Uh-huh.
because the virus had got bad again that we wasn't able to go.
Okay.
We're not supposed to be in groups, and that's a big group. The Alano Club has a lot of group of people there.
Yeah, I
I
get
don't
it.
want to get sick, and I take care of my grandma, and my grandma have
I get
cancer.
it. I get it. When did you pay the $679?
I paid the $679 yesterday.
Where?
I bring it to the 63rd District Court and put it in a drop box.
And how was it paid? Was it a check?
No, money order.
It was a money order that just yesterday you put in our box out front.
Yes.
Well, it's 9 o'clock in the morning right now, Thursday, the 17th of September. Honestly, I don't know when anybody goes out to get that box and empty it. But as of the start of today's date, we did not have any confirmation that that was paid. I'm not doubting you, and I'm not doubting that you put a money order in our Dropbox yesterday. Do you know what time it was?
Like 3 o'clock.
Yeah. So it's very possible that it's still in the Dropbox and that our staff, whoever's responsibility is to get that, hasn't picked that up yet. But this is what I want to check. Because technically, Mr. Cervantes, when he believed the money wasn't paid and that the other obligations weren't fulfilled, he was requesting jail. Let me ask you this. How did you get yourself in this position in the very first place? Like you and these other people you were with at Meyer, why are you doing something where there's $300 worth of merchandise that you're trying to take without paying for it? I don't get it.
I was 17 years old. I'm 19 years old. I was young, doing irresponsible things. Right now, I'm doing good for myself right now. I have a nice job. I work for myself actually. I got my
What
own
kind of work is
apartment.
it?
I do hair. I'm a
Okay.
beautician.
Okay, I get it.
I pay my rent. I got my own apartment. I've been having my own apartment since I was 18 years old. I'm doing well for myself. I was just young and doing irresponsible things.
So from
And
when this happened to now, you feel like you've matured enough? Because I think even then, you knew it was wrong.
yes, that's true. But
Okay,
I feel like I'm mature. I don't do that type of things no more. I don't surround myself around them type of friends anymore.
okay. All right, I appreciate it. Here's what I'm going to say. We're going to double check, and I'm not disputing what you're telling me. I believe you, really. I believe that you put a money order for $679 in our Dropbox yesterday. I do believe you. I just don't have it. We're going to double check that it's in there and that we can process it. That takes care of the money part. I'm going to terminate your probation. I'm not giving you jail, but I am going to order you to finish the community service. I don't know whether it's going to be at the Al-Anon Club. It might have to be somewhere else. I don't know. It's going to be 75 hours, and you have to have it done by the end of the year. Your probation is technically terminated now, but we're going to hold it for you to finish that community service that you would have done even if we never had coronavirus, like anybody else that has multiple shoplifting cases like you did. And I want to say, Ms. Hayes, that I never want you back in any court anywhere. I want you to stick by what you're telling me. You're mature enough to understand. Don't be involved in criminal activity. Whether you're 17, whether you're 19, whether you're 50, whether you're 70 years old. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. So probation terminated. We'll double check the money. I'm sure it's there if you're telling me. Community service is 75 hours, must be done by the end of the year. If not, then you do the jail time.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions that you have, Ms. Hayes?
No, thank you.
I appreciate you hooking up. I also think that you had the Holmes Youthful Trainee status on that case originally. That's terminated. Although it really shouldn't have been the Holmes because there was a prior. I'm not sure how that worked, but there's no deferment on this. It's just straight out charge. Don't have any new offenses. Don't have it happen again. I believe what you're telling me too, that you've matured. You have a lot of responsibilities. You're doing what you're supposed to do. I'm not asking you to be perfect. None of us are perfect, but I am asking you to be law-abiding. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thanks for your courtesy. Thanks for hooking up with us.
Thank you.
All right. Is anybody else in the Zoom room? Do you show anybody in the waiting room? Okay. So let's start with the Badgero case, if I could. It's filed D19-03-869-FY. It is Travis Badgero. He was originally represented by John Persky. This is a drug-related charge set for a probation violation today. Let's just do a $500 cash bench warrant for the defendant's failure to appear. If any of these names sound familiar or you've had any contact with them, Mr. Abuxia, you can let me know, because I think about 3 of them are your office.
Yes, Your Honor.
The next case is Charles Bristol, D19-02297SM, also at the time of a domestic violence case going all the way back to June of 2019. He was represented by the defender's office. He's before the court today for a probation violation, but he's not here. I said that funny. He's not before the court because no one called in, no one contacted us. We've not heard at all from Charles Bristol.
He was a
Looks like there's
client.
about-
He was a
Yeah.
client of mine, Your Honor. I do remember
Yeah.
Mr.
Well, if you
Bristol.
have any connection with him, you can let us know, but I'm just going to do a $500 cash bench warrant for his failure to appear at this PV. Also, there's about 300 that's still outstanding, so maybe we'll hear from him. The next case I have is Jacob Swinehart. Jacob Swinehart's file is D19-03247FY. Started out as a felony case of possession of cocaine from September a year ago. We're talking a year ago. He was represented by Mr. Fabian, and he pled to a misdemeanor. He pled to a use of cocaine. He's before the court for a probation violation. There's still monies outstanding. We've not heard from anybody. I wouldn't expect to hear from Mr. Fabian, but the defendant could have called in. We've not heard. We'll just do a $500 cash bench warrant until we hear anything else on this one. Again, the case is the Jacob Swinehart. Then the last case I had was the Cassandra Gomez, and Ms. Gomez's file is D20-00092SM, and it goes back to a domestic violence case that was January this year. And Ms. Gomez was represented by the defender's office. She pled to a domestic violence. She did get the first time offender program under 7694A. There's almost $900 that she owes on this case still. Again, it was from January of this year, so I'm not positive the date she was sentenced, but it was probably only within the last 3 or 4 months. Having said that, she's not appeared to the court. So let's just stick with a 500 cash bench warrant on Ms. Gomez and see if we can figure out what's going on with her. The probation violation, in addition to not paying the monies, was missing appointments here at the court via Zoom, via telephone. Okay, that's it for right now. Mr. Abuxia, can you think of anything else you've got?
As a matter of housekeeping, if I do track down any of the above listed defendants there, what would be the course to have them turn in, or do we do like a show cause where we bring them before the court?
Yep. If you get contact with them and understand whatever the misconnect was that they couldn't have Zoom, contact Amanda by email. I want to pull the bench warrants and schedule a new PV meeting.
Okay.
So just contact Amanda. If you get through to them, I'll pull the bench warrants so they're not arrested, reschedule a PV Zoom, and you could be present for those.
Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with Mr. Badgerow. He actually started in our office, but due to a conflict, he was transferred out, and then Charles Bristol. And so I'll see also Cassandra if she was in our office. I'll try and reach out to those three, Your Honor.
Sounds perfect. Thanks a lot, Mr. Abuxia. Always appreciate your help.